Hello. Hey team, good to see you. I'm going to do just a very quick chat with you about something new that I have seen, and it is this site. It got recommended a little while ago. It's got a funny name, and I'm going to badly pronounce it. GAUTH. Right, so if we go to the site now, this is at GAUTH. It's gauthmath.com, right? And it's listed as study resources helpful for students. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Yes, there is a paid version within it as well. Right, it talks about how you can upload material. It will help you solve it. It will give you step-by-step instructions. Right, so that sounds really good. It also offers help with apparently writing essays and personal statements. Right, now this is the free version at the moment. So what I did is I went to the resources section here, and then I went down to the economics, because obviously that's important to me. But if you have a look, there's a whole lot of maths there, statistics, calculus, physics, chemistry, biology, literature, business, general writing, social sciences, and there's probably more. But if I go to economics, because that's what's going to interest me. Now it says here, obviously definition for economics, there's some knowledge questions in here. You've also got the bot over here that you can ask questions of. But what I wanted to know was how well it would actually read a PDF with a question in it and solve it, because that's what it seemed to be advertising itself. So what I did was I found a question. This is an IGCSE question, and I uploaded it in here. There it is uploading. And ta-da, there it is. And this is what it looks like when it's uploaded it as a PDF, okay? It's only a short question here, and it says up here, what you do is you crop a question that you want to solve, then you hit the solve button beside the crop box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit crop to solve, and then I'm going to find a bit that I would like to be solved. So I'm going to go to here, and like this one, and then go down, and hopefully get question number 2 as well. Oops. It's not letting me do that. Let me just click out of that for a second. Scroll down a bit. Right, that's what I want. Click crop to solve. And so I select it. Right, so that's just a definition with a case study. Then I say calculate the PED, the price elasticity of demand, for this luxury watch and show all your workings. So I do that, and then I hit solve, and it will apparently solve it for me. So this is what it will look like. There's the scan bit. Right, it's working out the answer. There's the calculation over there. Now, what I find really interesting here is the calculation is done. Now, I think you need to check this, right, quite carefully, because when you look through, yeah, the definition looks okay. Calculation formula is fine. Yeah, it's done that okay. But when I look at the numbers here, it seems to have been a little bit loose with some of its numbering in here. I'm not entirely convinced here. It has figured out that this is a negative value there, and when it's actually an absolute value, so it's a positive one. So that's useful. But what I'm interested in knowing is how good is that, right, as an answer to this particular question, as opposed to my usual friend, which is Claude. So if I go back to Claude, now here's one I did earlier. And what I did with Claude was I did exactly the same thing. So I downloaded the question, there it is, loaded it up into Claude, and all I said to Claude was, can you solve the questions in this? And so he says, yep, sure. So he gives the definition, again, very well done. He hasn't put the formula in. Okay, calculate the PED for the watch. There's the information from the case study. Here's the calculation being performed. You'll notice it's more rigorous. You've got decimals occurring there. You've got decimals occurring there. And then look, there's the answer. You see, Claude knows that it's an absolute value, but he's also got the decimals. So this actually is a slightly different answer to the one that you got before. So this is more correct because it's more accurate. Right? And then it tells you what that all means, etc. And then it gives you a lot more detail for the remaining questions, which is really good. and very useful for me, but also very useful for my students. So why it did it that way, I'm not entirely sure. I do wonder what the engine is that drives this, whether this is a version of ChatGPT that's perhaps an earlier version, right? It equally might not, okay? So if I instead go to this question here and try and solve that one, let's see what it comes up with for that. So this is discuss the implications of the PED coefficient, and this is what it's come up with. Now it's come up with quite a long essay, but it hasn't actually, again, it's answered this, but it hasn't actually used, obviously, the previous information, which is actually what the question's about. So the danger to using this is because you're only solving it a question at a time, it doesn't solve it in relation to the previous question. So there is perhaps a way that you could maybe extend the crop to solve box. Right? It does offer the option of solving it again. And in here, explaining the answer, summarizing it, rephrasing it, translating it into different languages, that's all useful. I don't know about what the codes might be or what it might mean if we then decide to expand it, maybe put extra details in perhaps. If we do explain, no, summarize. Let's get it to summarize the answer and see what it comes up with. So here's the summary. Yeah. So that's quite good. But again, it hasn't answered the question in relation to the previous answers. Right? It's a follow-on question. So that would be interesting. So if using this tool, this GAUTH tool, you need to be aware that maybe the maths isn't perhaps quite as accurate as a bigger engine like, say, Claude is, and maybe Claude might give you a little bit more detail in its answering, and obviously it will allow you to do the flow-on questions. So that's why I thought this was quite an interesting one to look at, to compare Claude with the GAUTH helper. All right. Thank you very much. Hey, Corneda, have a brilliant day, and we'll see you again next time.